From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Our top story tonight. Troopers have confirmed the man involved in the September 8th shooting with law enforcement has died. 19-year-old Tristan Vent reportedly died of injuries sustained in the shooting at Alaska Native Medical Center in Anchorage. Sources say Vent was on life support for days after the trooper-involved shooting. Authorities on scene September 8th told the news center they made contact with a man in a stolen red pickup truck. The situation escalated, according to Trooper James Eister, and the suspect was shot. Officials say Vent wouldn't cooperate and brandished a gun prior to the incident. Now, troopers say they attempted to use less than lethal force without success. An investigation is ongoing. Bail has been set for the woman involved in a second officer-involved shooting. 20-year-old Sarah Smoke is facing felony assault and misconduct involving weapons charges stemming from the September 9th shootout. Today, a judge set her bail at $250,000 plus a condition of 2 court-approved third-party custodians. Now, it's alleged Smoke fired shots with a handgun out the passenger window during a pursuit. The driver, Vincent Perdue, was shot and pronounced dead on scene after reportedly firing multiple shots at pursuing officers. According to troopers, the pair was pulled over for a routine traffic stop and almost immediately began firing. Smoke's defense attorney has claimed she was a captive victim in the incident and said Smoke never fired at troopers. Investigators testified today that they believe Smoke did fire out the window in the vicinity of an elementary school. Testing was done to the suspect vehicle to determine whether or not Perdue could have shot out of both windows.
Yes, throughout the pursuit, while I was at the front of the vehicle, or front of the line of the vehicles, line of pursuing vehicles, there was an arm that came out the driver's side multiple times, and at one point, an arm was extended off the passenger side as well.
So I had my foot on the gas pedal, my right foot on the gas pedal, and then I tried to like lift my body over it, and I literally could not reach. I was straining everything I had, and I could not reach it.
National Transportation Safety Board investigators are at the scene of the crash near Liamna that left 3 dead and 7 injured. The de Havilland Otter, a fishing charter operated by Rainbow King Lodge, crashed on takeoff from East Wind Lake Tuesday morning. The plane crashed in the trees about a quarter mile away from the road, and 5 of the 7 survivors had to be carried out by stretcher.
I was sound asleep, and my boss busted into my room and said that there'd been a plane crash and that we got to go. So I quickly got dressed and gathered up tools, and we went over there. And we walked out to the. We quickly walked out to the crash site, and it was apparent that it was really bad.
After 3 years of delays in wrangling, a man accused of killing a former Fairbanks woman in Arizona has pled out. 27-year-old Joseph Michael Matthews pleaded guilty to murder in the death of 23-year-old Crystal McMartin in Scottsdale, Arizona in 2012. In exchange for the plea, the state agreed to not seek the death penalty for Matthews. McMartin was found outside of an apartment suffering from multiple stab wounds and died later at the hospital. Police followed a trail of blood from where she was found to an apartment where Matthews was taken into custody. He will appear in court again after a pre-sentence report is completed. A Fairbanks man with an extensive criminal history was back in court yesterday afternoon. 38-year-old Brandon Barron, who is now out of custody, was charged with failure to appear. Now, lawyers for Barron disputed the charge. He is faced with other felony charges for allegedly selling drugs to a police informant. He was also recently the subject of a standoff that brought out police and tactical units. After hours, he was taken into custody. Trial for that case is set for later this year. The 125th Attack Reconnaissance Battalion has activated for service at Fort Wainwright. The soldiers in the group will be flying Apache helicopters in the Arctic for training purposes. The battalion's activation ceremony occurred earlier today. Many Apache helicopters shipped to Fairbanks were recently fitted with sleds so they could land on deep snow. The modification is a first for the top-of-the-line Army chopper, which has never flown in Arctic conditions. Battalion Commander Lieutenant Colonel Jason Yochum says several assets need to maintain the Apaches will need to be standardized for the winter. The 125th's ARB's presence at Fort Wainwright is due to the Army's Aviation Restructure Initiative, which is a cost-saving program that seeks to replace Kiowa helicopters with their Apache counterparts. Fairbanks North Star Borough Mayor Luke Hopkins says he's excited to see the Apaches and also the men and women flying them.
What they're doing now is bringing in, I think, the support aviation for our soldiers to continue training and training in the north. That's what's important.
We need to have the line company with all the pilots that learn the uniqueness about operating in this environment, what type of training we're going to have to do that's different, how the helicopter is going to operate differently, how our weapon systems will operate differently, and that's really going to be a growth process.
All right, when we come back, state legislators may need to decide on what to do with Alaska's prison population. We have details on that. Now, also, the Carlson Center is hosting a preparedness expo this Saturday to inform residents on what to do in a disaster situation. These stories and more when we come back. Welcome back. A Fairbanks man accused of stealing money from multiple businesses has pleaded guilty as part of a deal with the state. 22-year-old Roland Grace pleaded guilty to a single count of second-degree burglary and attempted escape in Superior Court. Now, Grace was originally facing 7 felonies in connection to the case. Charging documents allege Grace broke into the creperie at the Co-op Plaza on more than one occasion and stole over $400. It was also alleged that Grace stole money from a nearby church and other businesses as well. Police reported that a pair of Crocs worn by Grace during the time of his interview matched those found at the scene. Grace was ordered to pay restitution of just over $1,500. He was sentenced to 24 months. However, the judge suspended all 24 months. For his attempted escape charge, he was also sentenced to 24 months with 18 months suspended. Grace will remain on probation for a period of 3 years. Slate legislators say they may need to make a choice soon on what to do about the state's prison population. Gareth Turner at KTUU, the NBC affiliate in Anchorage, has more.
The legislature commissioned a study Alaska's prison population called the Pew Charitable Trust presented its findings to the Senate Finance Committee. The group projected a deadline, setting a timetable for when Alaska will be out of room for its prisoners.
The dotted line that goes across the center of this graph is where Alaska's current prison bed capacity is. So you can see in 2017, the projected prison growth, the prison population actually surpasses the capacity to house them.
The data compiled by Pew Charitable Trusts could force the Alaska legislature to make a decision.
I had assumed up to this point that we had more people in prison. And I think they said this a number of times. There's fewer people, they're just staying longer.
The policy question for you all to consider and for the Alaska Criminal Justice Commission to consider is, what are you getting for those extra days? Is there something else that you could be doing that would cost less?
Pew says as the prison population goes up, so does the cost. So there are 2 choices to consider.
We're going to have to build another prison. We don't want to do that.
Without a new prison, the state will have to contract out of state to house its prisoners.
And not only is it very expensive, it's tough on the families, but it's also important, I think, as we try to reintegrate prisoners back into the community, is that they had some kind of connection with their family. If we can keep from separating that, I think it's a good idea.
It's a tough decision to mull over, one that, according to data,
the Senate Finance Committee is adjourned,
will have to be made soon. Pew says the Department of Corrections is not solely responsible for Alaska's prisoners. The presenters pointed to the many decision makers like judges, prosecuting attorneys, and legislators who are responsible for who goes to prison and how long that they stay. For them, it's a statewide issue.
A preparedness expo is taking place at the Carlson Center this Saturday to help interior residents be ready when faced with the worst-case scenario. The event aims to bring together community members and organizations which have critical tools that may be valuable in a disaster situation. Organizers focused on being ready for 4 major emergencies, including wildfires, earthquakes, floods, and energy outages during the interior's frigid winters. The family-friendly event is free to the public and takes place from 10 until 4 p.m. in the afternoon. It focuses both on providing products and services as well as education to residents of the interior. Borough Emergency Manager Craig Malloy says being prepared can be critical in the face of disaster.
Individuals and families being resilient and not needing services, either medical or from the government, will give a breathing room and an opportunity for the overwhelmed emergency services and other government services to respond to life safety needs.
The National Science Foundation is funding a University of Alaska Fairbanks research project that presents a unique opportunity for residents. UAF researchers are conducting a study to find how water and permafrost control the release of methane gases found in lakes. Over the next 3 years, scientists will collect data on weather, permafrost, runoff, lake and groundwater levels across the Goldstream Valley. The UAF team is looking for Goldstream Valley residents to participate in the study by collecting simple snow depth measurements or groundwater levels. Now, to join the team, you can call UAF Research Assistant Professor Anna Ledgdahl at 474-1951. She says all ages are welcome to participate in the study.
Snow depth measurements, because we know the snow depth can vary quite a bit in the valley. And so having someone in the family willing to go out in the backyard once a month and stick a stick in the snow and see how deep the snowpack is, that would be really valuable to us.
All right, Joe Cook is next with sports, and there's another addition to a coaching staff. The UAF women's basketball team has a new assistant coach. Also, one team gets a key win in flag football. All that and more with Joe.
Welcome back, Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here with your midweek Wednesday sportscast. Today, the Alaska women's basketball program found their new assistant coach. Head coach Cody Bench brings on Brett Sawyer to her staff. Sawyer spent the last 4 seasons as an assistant for Snow College, a junior college program in Utah. While at Snow, Sawyer helped guide the program to top 20 NJCAA rankings and a Region 18 title to go along with a couple of 20-win seasons. He was also the head coach for the Utah Diamondbacks girls varsity AAU team for 4 seasons. Sawyer is a Utah State grad and was in the Army National Guard for 6 years and did a year-long tour in Iraq. He replaces Greg Bruce, who retired after 1 year with the Nanooks. Last year, Alaska finished 14-14 and just missed out on the GNAC tournament berth. It was their best record since 2005. The 2015-2016 season starts in November on the 7th with the alumni game. Sorry I've been hitting you guys with so many cliches this week, but it keeps happening. All things must come to an end. Last night, West Valley Wolfpack put their 11th game winning streak in flag football on the line against rival Lathrop. The Wolfpack won the first meeting 22-14. It was close until Lathrop's Caitlin Spencer hits Collier Fitzgerald, who does the rest. That's 73 yards to the crib, and the Mutes led 7-0 at the half. Spencer continued to spread it around in the second half. She threw for 198 yards and 3 touchdowns, one to Allen Lewis and the other to Jaslyn Davis at the buzzer. West Valley struggled on offense. Olivia Shellikins was not 100% and was picked off twice. The Wolfpack were without Charnette Sudduth, who was unavailable as well. But Lathrop shuts out West Valley 20-0, handing the Wolfpack their first loss in 11 games. There's one more meeting left between the teams. This year's flag football title is now up for grabs. Both Lathrop and West Valley are now 3-1.
It was a lot of fun. I mean, you always have more fun when you're winning, and we were just playing well as a team, and it was just a lot of fun. I think we're just able to read their offense really well. We do really well keeping an eye on the ball and watching the quarterback and just reading their plays.
We got more serious in practice. We, after that loss, we kind of buckled down and said we're not going to accept that anymore. So it's going to be a good game next time, and I'm excited.
And there was a pair of high school volleyball matches Tuesday night. Allison gave West Valley a tough non-conference game. The Ravens pushed the Wolfpack to 5 sets as the teams matched each other set for set, but West Valley would get the win. Stella Knox and Ruthie Hebert combined for 27 kills. The match high 14 going to Knox. Kaya Campbell had 20 digs on the back line for the Pack. Jordan Arnett and Lexi Smith both had match high 22 digs for Allison. Arnett added 6 kills. Lathrop, they took down Hutchinson in 4 sets, 25-14, 25-17, 18-25, 25-17. Raven Dempsey led the Hawks with 8 kills and a loss. The Malamutes are now 4-2 on the year. This weekend is the weekend for long distance runners. The big one, the Equinox Marathon, is this Saturday. Before Saturday gets here, you'll need to register if you haven't already and pick up your bibs. Bib pickup is this Thursday and Friday inside the Pioneer Park Civic Center from 5 to 8 p.m. You can register for the marathon at www.equinoxmarathon.org. The 53rd Equinox Marathon is a 26.2-mile race. There's a 3-person relay option, which is in its 23rd year. And for the strong endurance runner, you can sign up for the 7th annual Equinox Ultra Marathon. That's a 40-mile race. All the Equinox Marathon races start this Saturday at 8 a.m. at the UAF Patty Center. Week 1 of the NFL season is in the books. Let's see who is getting some dinner tonight. The Pro Football Challenge Week 1 winner is Kay Borkovich. Congratulations, Kay Borkovich. You'll get a large pizza from Pizza Hut. Borkovich got 13 out of 16 picks right. Now, 11 other people got 12 out of 16 picks right. So standings after week 1, Kate Korbachek has the slight lead. 11 users are tied at 12 points, and another 25 users have 11 points. I got 9 picks correct this week. I got to do a little bit better. Remember to put in your picks for week 2. Thursday night's football game is Denver at Kansas City. And that'll do it for sports tonight. Thanks for watching. Will this wet weather continue? Find out next with your full weather forecast. And as always, we'll catch you next time.
Welcome back to our broadcast, everybody. This is Stephanie Woodard filling in for Mike Schultz, who's under the weather, so I have to take over the weather for him. Today's high 46 degrees, low 39 degrees. You can look in the lower left. The record high 75 degrees set in 1919. Record low of 21 degrees set in 1987. Sun rose this morning at 7:14 a.m. and it set at 8:19 p.m., giving us 13 hours and 9 minutes. We are losing almost 7 minutes per day. Let's take a look at the current conditions on the satellite. As you can see, there is a lot of precipitation going across pretty much all regions of our state, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Let's take a look at what was going on today. Barrow up north, 30 degrees, pretty chilly up there. As you can see over at Fort Yukon, they are enjoying some sunlight, 45 degrees. Fairbanks, we've been under cloud coverage and rain pretty consistently for the last week or two. Moving over to the southeast, you can see Juneau and Ketchikan. They are also continuing to be under rain. Temperatures there a little bit warmer than here, 48 and 53. And the Anchorage Bowl, same thing, under some pretty good cloud coverage and rain. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Let's slide on down to the lower 48. Seattle, they are also under some rain, temperatures in the upper 60s. Pretty good weather down there in San Francisco and Las Vegas, 87 degrees. Phoenix, a whopping 98 degrees. Dallas, 92. But if you look over in the Miami and the Panhandle area, you will see a little bit later that they are under some pretty heavy rain and thunderstorm action. Same thing with Minneapolis up there. Let's take a look at that right now. On the satellite and radar, if you look over in the bottom right of your screen, you can see all that action going on, even hitting Atlanta, areas of Miami. They're in some pretty severe weather. If you look up at the northwest section, same thing, some pretty heavy thunderstorms there, and keep an eye on that. Now, since Mike Schultz is not here, unfortunately, we don't have Kids Weather Watch, but tomorrow he'll be back and he'll be sharing some things with Arctic Lake Elementary School. We all look forward to seeing the kids there. We want to thank Mount McKinley Bank, 50 years in service, for providing that. And yes, we will be looking forward to seeing the young student tomorrow. All right, now let's look at tomorrow's forecast in the northern sections. Flurries and fog for Barrow, a chance of rain for snow or snow for Nome, which is mixed with showers also in Fort Yukon. Temperatures there frigid, 33 degrees. Let's take a look at the interior. Mixed showers become rain showers in Fairbanks, rain and snow likely for Healy. That's right, the S word, mixed showers for Delta. Temperatures are going to remain in the upper 40s, maybe mid 40s, but yes, in the higher altitudes, we may see some snow here. Taking a look at the southeast, showers across the region continue in Juneau and Ketchikan. Temperatures will remain in the 50s. And over to the southwest, again, more rain, scattered showers for Cold Bay and Bethel, and rain likely for Kodiak. It just looks like a pretty wet forecast, and what do you know, South Central, rain across the region there. Okay, so let's see. Let's take a look for tonight. Continuing numerous showers. It's going to get pretty cold out there, 37 degrees, and then for tomorrow, 49 degrees with scattered rain. Could become snow in the upper elevations. We will just have to wait and see. And let's take a look at the extended outlook. And it's just looking like more and more precipitation and cloud coverage. We just can't get away from it. Saturday, it looks like it may taper off a little bit, but for Sunday and Monday, it looks like some snow and rain mixed. So, and then possibly just some straight up flurries on Tuesday. I know Joe's not very happy about that, but hopefully that will go away. It's okay. It's okay, Joe. Okay. Maybe Mike will come back and update that with just a much better forecast. So don't get mad at me. All right, well, that will wrap up this edition of our broadcast, and we're glad you could join us.
As always, join us here 6 days a week at 6 and 11 on online anytime at webcenter11.com.
All righty, from all of us here at the News Center, we hope you have a great night.